Good evening and welcome to the second hour here on Darkness on the Edge of Town Paranormal Radio Show. I'm your host, Dave Schrader, sitting across the board from me, Mr. Tim Dennis. Good evening, Tim.
Good evening.
Well, Tim, this is cool. This is what our fifth visit with the real ghost whisperer, Miss Mary Ann Winkowski, is joining us back on the show this evening. She is a great guest. We've had her on in the past. We talked to her. Of course, she's one of the creative consultants for the television series Ghost Whisperer, along with James Van Praagh. And she is one of the inspirations for the lead character, Melinda Gordon's role. So let's welcome back to the Darkness on the Edge of Town, Mary Ann Winkowski. Good evening, Mary Ann.
Good evening. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for coming back and spending some time with us.
Sure.
So it looks like we're looking on the guns of a new successful season coming off pretty soon, right?
Yep. The fourth season will start on Friday, October 3rd.
Friday, October 3rd. Now, there was a pretty devastating fire that took place at Universal Studios this year.
You know, it was, and unfortunately they called it the Back to the Future set, which, of course, is our set retooled to, for our show.
For Granville, right. They've made it into Granville, correct?
Exactly. And what happened is that the day that we were supposed to go back on the set to start filming, because there are going to be 4 extra shows in this coming up season because of the writer's strike last year.
Oh, okay.
And that Sunday night it burned.
Oh.
And so actually, we're still not all the way back on the set. We're doing a lot of location because of the fire.
Have they been able to rebuild the set pretty much, or are they still in works of trying to get it back up?
They've got some of it back, but not all of it yet. There was a lot of smoke and water damage, unfortunately.
Really? Well, do they have, I know there's some of the rides and things are the same in Florida. Do they not have the same set there that they could have just revamped and used for you guys in the Florida location?
I don't think so. The town is pretty unique with the square and everything, and the fire department, where Jim works, and then, of course, the antique store. So it was, the good thing is that we did a location on the Queen Mary.
Oh, great.
So that should be very cool. And we got, it's harder on Jennifer, of course, because nothing is close to Los Angeles. It's like an hour and a half to 2 hours away.
Right.
But I think it's going to put an extra slant on the show for the first 5 or 6 episodes.
So are they going to have the Titanic crash in Granville, and that's why you guys are aboard the Queen Mary?
Yeah, we'll let it go with that.
Oh, come on. Now, you also have some other changes. I see Jay Moore has got a new series on CBS, so is he leaving the show?
Well, he's not really leaving. He'll be on the first episode of the new season. Professor Payne is going on sabbatical.
Ah, okay.
And so there is a space there for him if and when he ever wants to come back.
Sabbatical, right. So that means I'm going to go try my new series, and if it fails miserably, Dr. Payne will be back harassing Melinda in the next season, correct?
Right.
Good. All right. Now, hey, you've got a book out there right now called When Ghosts Speak, and this is a fantastic book. I highly recommend you pick it up. And you can get this book at Amazon.com. You can pick up the book at any major bookseller, or you can go directly to Mary Ann's website where she has it, and it's MaryAnnWinkowski.com. That's Mary Ann, MaryAnnWinkowski.com. You can pick up her book, When Ghosts Speak, there. And you actually even have a part of an excerpt from the book right on your site that can be read, correct?
I do, yeah.
Now tell us a little bit, just remind the new listeners, what does the book cover and what are you dealing with?
The book is doing well, and when Time Warner bought the book, the editor sat down with me and she said, this is what I want. She said, I want a book that people can go to and find an answer to their question and then put it on a shelf. And in 6 months or 6 years, if they have another ghost question, I want them to go back to that book and be able to find the answer to that question. And I think that's what I gave her. And it's really good because it tells you what signs to look for if you have an earthbound spirit in the house. It also gives you some really good advice on what to do if you think you have an earthbound spirit in the house. I just can't get to every phone call, and sometimes, it's like some people can help themselves doing things.
Right, and it is a lot more simple than people think, correct?
It is not TV.
Right.
It is not the movies. It is not Ghost Whisperer, believe me.
I think that's like sacrilege, don't you, Tim? She's calling out her own show now.
Most definitely.
Well,
is it more like Medium then?
But, because of the show, that's why the book was written.
Right.
So, I fought for the first 6 months, I fought with the producers every week. You can't do that. A ghost doesn't walk through you. You're not going to walk through them. They're not going to put your hair down the garbage disposer. They don't do things like that. They're not bloody, gory, or creepy. And,
yeah, but that doesn't sell for Hollywood, Mary Ann.
Well, and that's what he said. He says, get your head around it. He says, this is Hollywood. This is entertainment. This is not a ghost documentary every week. He says, write a book.
Write a book. Now, let's mention this, too. You're looking for questions about earthbound spirits, right, for your next book?
Yeah.
And any problems or questions, any kind of concerns that pop up, you're looking for that so people can actually contact you at your website at maryannwinkowski.com. It's right on the front page. It says Mary Ann needs you. There's a place to click, and you can actually get details. So if you have questions that you want her to handle for the next book, you can do that. When do you think the next book's going to be coming out?
I have a fiction series coming out. The first one will be out this spring from Crown, and so that one will be out first in the spring. It's called the Illumination series, and that's fun. I can make the ghost go a little crazy in that.
Sure.
Because it's fiction.
Mm-hmm.
But the follow-up to When Ghosts Speak is probably going to be spring of the following year.
Okay, spring of the following year.
Right. It seems like these book publishers don't like to have two books coming out of the same season.
What would you say can you give me like at least two? What are two of the most popular questions people have for you that you cover in When Ghosts Speak?
I think the most kids, parents are always worried about their kids. Is my child really seeing something? Are they really playing with an imaginary friend, or are they playing with someone? When my son tells me he didn't do it, that his friend did it, did his friend do it, the imaginary friend?
Right.
I think that is the first, I think that's the top question, and then after that, it's the creepy factor question. Am I being watched while I'm in the shower? Is somebody laying down with me in bed at night?
Yeah. So what's the answer to that? Are we being watched in the shower, and is somebody laying down with us in bed at night?
Hey, if they were a pervert when they're alive, they're going to be a pervert when they're dead.
Really?
Oh, sure.
So now, can you pick these ghosts up? I mean, if you're in a bar and there's a creepy pervert ghost that's hanging in the bar, will they follow you home? And
if he thinks you're cute, he's going to.
Oh, jeez.
So you really
just what I need, another creepy pervert ghost following me home. That's all right. They're the ones that end up frightened when they see me in the shower, Mary Ann.
Oh, no, don't. That's a bad visual. Don't go there.
Exactly. Wow, what was great is I talked to you last Monday. We were discussing real quick, just touching base about the show, and you told me you were picking up some residue around me.
Right.
Now, tell people how you do what you do. You're not psychic, and you're not a medium.
Right.
What do you do exactly? How are you able to sense this? Now, you do it over the phone, right? Because the long and the short of the story is you used to go out to everybody's home that would call you, and you'd waste a lot of time and gas just to get out there to find out that they just had plumbing issues or they were crazy.
Right, squirrels in the attic, right.
Right, you were about to give up on doing it. You said to God, hey, if you have a better way for me, you better let it be known because I'm done. And when you got a phone call, all of a sudden you were able to see, like a security camera, you were able to see inside these people's homes, see where the ghosts are, what they might be attached to. Now, you can't communicate with them at that point, but you have the ability to see them, know what they're usually attached to. Do they hang out with that item or in that area that they're more attached, or do they have the free reign to walk wherever they want?
No, they pretty much go wherever they want. If somebody came in with an old rototiller or an old, piece of lawn equipment, they're not going to hang out in the garage. Nobody's in there that much. They're not going to get energy from anybody. They'll just come in the house and make themselves, comfortable. But I can see them. I can tell how old they are. The residue, like I told you when we talked last, it was like, okay, if you are someplace and somebody is smoking a cigar,
right,
and you come home and you go to bed, and in the morning you go to pick up that sweater to put that sweater back on, now that sweater smells like cigar smoke.
Right.
Now, there's nobody smoking a cigar there, but the residue of cigar smoke is around you. When I talk to somebody, if there is no earthbound spirit there, but if one has been there within the last 2, 3, or 4 days, I can usually pick up on the residue.
And is it like clinging to somebody's aura? How are you seeing that?
It's just through the house.
Okay.
It's just hanging out.
So it's like those old commercials with the guys with bad breath. You'd see the green smoke pouring out of their breath, right? Is that what you're seeing? Is that kind of trail?
That would be a good visual. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would work.
So and you said I've just got a regular apartment ghost, and he probably doesn't just hang in my apartment. He goes throughout the building and sees what he wants to see.
Apartments, condos, any place where there's a lot of common, when there's a common roof with a lot of people living there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a smorgasbord for a ghost. They can go into one apartment if there's a party going on, and if they'll check out your apartment, if it's dull and boring, they're not going to stay. They're going to go someplace where there's a lot of energy. But ghosts are the same as they were alive. If they didn't like animals, if they weren't particularly fond of children, they're not going to be in your house if you've got kids or, a dog, even though there's a lot of energy. The same thing is that if you've got kids, though, kid spirits usually will gravitate toward kids.
So what you're saying here, Mary Ann, is as in life, so in death?
Exactly.
Wow, that sounds like a good title for a new book, Tim. What do you think? Should we get on that? Oh, wait a minute. Isn't that already a book that was out there?
I think so.
Yep,
Maybe
my
just
book before this was called As Alive, So Dead.
Now, people can still get that book out there, too, correct?
No, apparently you can get it on eBay.
Okay.
And I think it would be really crazy for anybody to pay that price that people are asking, let me tell you.
Well, it's a great book, though. I'd highly recommend if people can find a copy of it to pick up a copy and read it. Mary Ann's first book, which actually kind of chronicles her life and how she got to the position she's in and how she's able to do what she does. So if you can find it, pick that one up. But her brand new book is called When Ghosts Speak. It's by Mary Ann Winkowski. She is, as I said, one of the inspirations for the character Melinda Gordon on Ghost Whisperer. She's one of the creative consultants. We're going to take our first break of the evening, and we'll come back with a couple of phone calls. And Mary Ann Winkowski, you're listening to the Darkness on the Edge of Town Paranormal Radio Show. Good evening, and welcome back to the Darkness on the Edge of Town Paranormal Radio Show. Our guest this evening is Mary Ann Winkowski, and I want to remind you that Ghost Whisperer, the TV series, kicks off again this October. And again, the date on that, Mary Ann?
October 3rd.
October 3rd is the brand new season of Ghost Whisperer. And again, Mary Ann is one of the creative consultants, one of the inspirations for the main character. She is a real-life Ghost Whisperer. And we're going to have a call come in right now. We have Susan from Seattle is on the line with us. And Susan, you think you've got something going on in your home you wanted Mary Ann to chime in on, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so Mary Ann, this is Susan. Susan, Mary Ann.
Hi, Susan.
Hi, Mary Ann.
Okay, the first thing I want to tell you is that I don't know what you've been sensing or what you've been seeing, but you definitely do have two earthbound spirits in your house.
Mm.
Okay.
And they are both women.
Wow, all right.
The one looks to be about 35-ish, and from the way she's dressed, I'd say she probably died in the late 1930s, early 40s. And she looks healthy, so that tells me that she probably died some kind of an accidental death. People that die if they're sick usually look thin, and she does not. She looks very normal, weight and everything.
Okay.
And the other woman is probably 60-ish, and she died more recently, maybe in the mid-1990s. Chances are you don't know either one of these people, because usually relatives, if they haven't crossed over, do not usually hang out with people. The first one, the younger one, she's a toucher. I don't know if you notice things moving a lot in your house but she likes to move things, touch things. She's noisy. She will bang things. She will close cupboards. She will move hangers. She's quite she's quite the thing. The older woman seems to be a little bit more laid back, but she's the one that if you have any lower intestinal problems or anybody in the house or unexplained headaches, she would be the cause of that.
Okay.
Now, she does look thin, so she may have died from, at that young age, she could have had some kind of a lingering disease.
Okay.
Interesting. Now, too, this is funny. This is Susan, who's part of our show. She does the book reviews for us here on Darkness Radio. And the reason I wanted her to be a part of the show is I was out there visiting with her and a few of our friends about a month ago. And it's funny that you mentioned that the one ghost is a toucher, because I slept in Susan's room. She and her friends slept out in the living room. And I told her every time I'd wake up at night, when the blanket was off, I could feel what felt like something poking me in the back.
Oh, this would be her.
Okay, and I said, it almost felt like a cat's paw, the way it kind of pads at you.
Yes.
But that's funny that you say she's a toucher. And the other strange thing that I saw when we were there, I'm not clairvoyant. I don't usually see ghosts or things. But as we were standing there talking, out of her front closet, I saw this shadow figure just totally lean out of the closet, look at us, and then dart back into the closet, which I thought was kind of a strange little...
Well, that might be the one that's a little bit more of a fraidy cat, the quieter one.
Okay.
She may have been the one that, would have been more laid back and hiding around the corner or something. The strange thing is that this younger one, I don't know if you've had a lot of vehicle problems, but if you have, she rides with you quite a bit.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you, Susan? Do you have things that in your car you'll sense you're with somebody, or weird mechanical or radio issues or something?
I've had weird things happen, especially with my my CD player. It'll stop and start back to the beginning of whatever I'm listening to out of the blue. I've had my CD player changed out 2 to 3 times because it keeps doing crazy stuff.
Okay. Now, you know what, Mary Ann, here's something else kind of interesting we haven't done with you in the past, but Susan has been waking up at strange hours, and she feels like there's something there, a presence with her, so she's been trying to do EVP work.
Okay.
And I've got some audio, and I thought maybe you being able to see spirits and know how they communicate, if we could play this audio. Tim, do you have it queued up in there for us? Yep. All right, why don't we go ahead and we'll play the first segment, which is kind of interesting, and this was recorded at your home, correct, Susan?
Yes.
About what time in the morning? You're doing, you said about 2, 3 in the morning when you get...
Yeah, my dogs will start to growl and start acting very strange at odd hours for no reason whatsoever. And, of course, it wakes me up because I'm very aware of my dogs.
Okay.
And I've been getting a lot of K2 activity at that time as well, and I just started to record.
All right, well, go ahead, and Tim, let's play this first bit.
It's Susan. It's approximately 10 o'clock on Monday night. I'm in my bedroom of my condo. I've had K2 activity. Thought I would try again to communicate. I'm going to have someone come in that actually might be able to communicate with me since we're having a hard time. I'm sorry I don't understand you. Would you like to, again, try to share with me what your name is? Did you follow me home? Do you need help? I'm turning off the recorder now.
What's interesting about that piece of audio, now, it sounded to me right when it started off like it said your name, Susan.
Yeah, I've been, when we cleaned it up last night, that was the consensus of the folks that were actually trying to upload that information.
Right, it sounded like it said Susan, and then I can hear what sounds like, talking. It almost sounds like it's getting frustrated as the recording progresses, like it's having a hard time not being able to communicate. And then when you ask it if it followed you home, it almost sounded like a laugh to me.
Yeah.
And then when you said...
It's almost like a little laugh.
Yeah, and then you said something like, do you need help? And again, to me, it sounded like it said yes at that point.
Yeah.
Now, is that normal? Do the ghosts get frustrated, Mary Ann, when we're trying to communicate and we can't hear them?
Well, I think that if they are really, really trying to get your attention, they're going to keep getting more obnoxious, more pushy, the more that they're trying to get you to be aware of them. People that are seeking ghosts out, all right, ghosts that want to be found will usually try to figure out a way to get your attention so that you do know that they're there. People that are not aware of it, again, they're not going to, it's like if you have 2 kids, one kid is very sensitive, the other one isn't. The ghost is going to mess with the one that is, not the one that isn't.
Well, the reason I asked that is we have one more bit. Let's go ahead and play this. As I was saying, it seems to get more frustrated or louder, like it's
I haven't been able to hear it, so I don't know.
Okay, maybe Tim can pot it up a little bit.
I don't hear it either, Dave.
Okay,
so.
Well, we're getting it over our airwaves here. Go ahead and play this next bit, Tim, and this is the... That's just frightening. It's just like screaming.
See, I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, it's coming through, and it's just... You see, it's still continuing.
The other thing, too, by waking you up, Susan, in the middle of the night like that, you put out energy because it's frustrating to you. It makes you angry that you're being, woken up in the middle of the night like that, which is putting out more energy, which she's sucking right up on. It's almost like they're almost like energy vampires.
So they're feeding on her by irritating her, getting her agitated. They can walk in and just suck the energy off of her that way.
Right, when the kid gets out of bed every night at 2 o'clock in the morning and gets in bed with you. It's like, before you know it, you're fighting with your spouse. When is this kid going to stay in their bed? What's wrong with them? No other kid does this. And the ghost is loving it. How easy is it to go into the kid's room and bump the bed, the frame of the bed, so the kid wakes up terrified and climbs in bed with the parents?
But because it's yelling, she doesn't need to be frightened. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a demonic or an angry spirit trying to hurt her.
No, not at all. I think it's just you do it when you're alive. When you want to get somebody's attention or you're trying to make a point, you get louder and louder and louder. And so it's like if I talk really, really loud, they're finally going to understand me.
Yeah.
This is what she's doing. She's frustrated, too.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Well,
but
Susan,
I really want to help her. I think my frustration is I do want to help. I truly do. And I can't understand her. So I'm frustrated. And through the conversations I've had with a K2 meter with the yes and no answers, very frustrated. And I pick up on that. I'm like, I'm sorry you're frustrated. I'm sorry I can't understand you. I really do want to communicate with you.
Well, a good book for you to pick up is When Ghosts Speak by Mary Ann. She gives you some rules of thumb that you can read on how to help deal with these type of spirits and get it taken care of.
Especially that one. The easiest way for that one to go is just write on a piece of paper on one side the closest funeral home that you have to your house. Mm-hmm. And tell her, please go to this funeral home, Smith's Funeral Home on Main Street, when there's a viewing, and go into the bright white light, and you can cross over. Just write it on one side of a piece of paper. Okay. Put it up, tack it on your refrigerator, or leave it on your dining room table. She'll read it and she'll go. We have to take our break here. Susan, thank you very much for being a part of the show. You're listening to the Darkness on the Edge of Town Paranormal Radio Show. Good evening. Welcome back to Darkness Radio. Our guest this evening is the real ghost whisperer, Mary Ann Winkowski. Her new book is out. It's called When Ghosts Speak, and you can also check out the new season of Ghost Whisperer, which she's a creative consultant on, as it returns to TV October 3rd. So keep that in your books. Make sure that you tune in. It's going to be a good new season. 4 extra episodes this season to make up for last season's shortness of shows. We've got another caller here on the line with us, Mary Ann. Her name is Kelly. She's calling from Tennessee. And now, Kelly, you're on the line with us?
Yes.
You're house sitting for a friend. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And why don't you go ahead and tell Mary Ann a little bit what's been going on there without giving away too much. What's been going on there that makes you think that you're dealing with a haunting?
Well, we have picked up a few EVPs since we've been here. Just myself, I've left a recorder, on overnight, picked up some stuff on that. Things just kind of go flying across the room every now and again. You can, hear sighs, shadows, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
That's pretty much about it.
Are you picking up anything there at all, Mary Ann?
There's a man there. How old is this house?
It's been added on to, so it's probably not more than 20 years old.
Okay. Where is the room that has the doors where it's 2 sets of doors that open in the middle, not a patio door?
That would be the living room, I guess, yeah.
Okay, that's where he's at right now.
Do you want me to go in there?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's fine. That's where he's at. He is, he's very he's very, the word that comes to mind is very snarky looking. He's got a little thin mustache. He almost looks like hair parted on the side, combed over, greasy hair, baggy suit. He looks like he died maybe in the 50s, but he looks very sleazy, very snarky, maybe 40-ish. He gets great fun out of making noises in this house and scaring people. That's like his whole thing. He just likes doing it.
Oop. I think we lost her. Okay. So we've got that. Well, that's it. Yeah. She had also mentioned during our pre-screening, too, that her son had been woken up the other night by what she believed was a man's spirit in the room with her. Ah. Now, you mentioned something a little bit earlier that I'm intrigued by. You said that they like to agitate you. Do you think, a lot of people, they move into a new house, and all of a sudden their marriage kind of goes to hell. There's all this fighting and aggression. Yep. Is it just the spirits mucking with them? Do they feed off? Is that their job? Do they actually feed off that energy?
Yep, more houses with divorce than anything else because it's so easy. When you start fighting over air, you know there's a problem in the house. It's like you can fight over anything. You just look at one another. You remember when you were a kid and you're sitting in the back seat with your brother or your sister and you yell to your parents in the front, she's looking at me? Well, when you're an adult, you don't do things like that. Oh, yes, you do. If you got a ghost in your house and he's trying to break you up. The sound of your spouse's breathing can set you on your ear if there's a ghost in the house.
Wow. Well, that is a strange deal that we're able to find. There's so many of these cases that we come across, even in paranormal investigating that we do. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to clear houses as well as you do, but it does seem that there's this aggression and anger that takes place. And
the other way that can work, too, is that if you're a single person and you're dating, or, and you've got, whoever you're dating feels more comfortable when you're at their house, not at your house.
Right.
Or it only lasts, you only date for 2 or 3 weeks and then it goes right down the tubes. Somebody's there not wanting you to date. They're stopping you from going forward in that.
Okay. That's a strange deal. And you said, too, that they will mess with, you'll get headaches, lower intestinal
problems with adults. Kids are going to have a lot of ear, nose, throat, and upper respiratory problems.
Okay. We've got our next caller on the line with us here. Oh, I guess not. We dropped them out. Sorry about that. We'll pick them back up here in a second. So if they're picking up these kind of colds, how is that affecting them? What are they doing that's actually making you get these colds and feel kind of junky?
They're an energy drain on you.
Okay.
And when you have low energy, even if you sleep 10 hours, you still wake up tired. When your body's resistance is low like that, adults, it usually affects headaches, sinuses, lower intestinal problems, and kids, the old ear, nose, and throat, right there.
Really? Okay. So if you're starting to have these things, and if you're a paranormal investigator, you start to pick this stuff up, it's time to reassess your position in this job, huh?
Yeah, I would think twice about it.
Fair enough. I'd like to know, too, Mary Ann, you mentioned that one way that we can help people is by putting the writing on one side of a piece of paper, just kind of giving them directions. Why is that? You don't want to engage the spirit? Is that the deal?
Talking to them gives them more energy.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely.
Do you find people that get addicted to the spirits in their home, where they actually like having them there, and it's, they keep feeding them that stuff, but yet they're calling in for people like you?
Yes, but then those people, are usually hypochondriacs, and they usually, like to think that their whole life they've been a martyr. So it's like, where do you want to be glumped?
Right.
In which group do you want to be with?
Gotcha. Yeah, this is a strange field. I give you a lot of credit, people that have that ability to go in and do these type of things. Looks like we have our next call on.
Right, and for people that do your work, or the ghost hunters, or the taps, any of those people, if I was the client and you guys came in with all your equipment and did all your stuff, and then on the way out handed me the report that said, yep, you probably have a ghost in your attic and one hanging out on the first floor, and you walked out and left me with my ghosts,
right? Exactly.
I would be so frustrated.
Very much so. We have Chris on the line now with us, Mary, and we have about 4 minutes here in this segment left. Chris, now you feel that you might have something at your home as well?
Yeah, occasionally, I'm like seeing things the corner of my eye. Actually, especially last night when I was going to bed, I saw something like move from the bathroom into
He's got to speak up. I can
bedroom.
hardly hear him.
She can barely hear. He said he's seeing things out of the corner of his eyes a lot, and last night as he was getting ready for bed, he actually saw something that seemed to move through the bedroom towards the bathroom. Are you able to pick anything up at his home?
There's energy there from a man, but there's also a cat there, a cat ghost.
Are you hearing that, Chris? She's saying that she's picking up a cat ghost and an energy of a man. Is this cat prevalent in any specific part of the house?
The cat is right now. Okay, the bedroom is. The bedroom is a little tussled right now, but the cat's like in the middle of the blankets. You know how the blankets are on the floor in the one section? That's where the cat is.
Wow. So it's right there.
Right. It's a black and white. It looks like a tuxedo cat.
Chris, is that what you're aware of? Do you have a black and white cat that you would be aware of being there?
No.
Okay. Well, it could have been people that lived there before you, or the cat could have just came in. But the cat's there now. The spirit, he was there. He left this morning, actually. He was there all night, too.
Yeah, I do feel that stuff sometimes tends to come and go inside this house.
Yeah. And this is a regular house, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'll tell you, when they come and go like this, it's usually a relative. So, and this guy's probably 65, between 65 and 70. So I don't know if you've had a relative that died probably within the last 7 to 10 years. Maybe a grandpa, an uncle, somebody that hasn't crossed over. He just might be coming through and, checking up on you. If you've ever dreamt of somebody that's died, that means they have crossed over. They are where they're supposed to be. But if this is a relative, that means you or nobody has ever dreamt of him. He's never been in a dream. So you can sort of do a little investigation and see if you think it's a grandpa or a great-grandpa or something. Check around to see if anybody's ever had a dream of them. And if nobody has, that's probably who it is.
Now, Chris, I know that you had a cat that passed on recently. Now,
yeah, it was an orange tabby about it was in April, actually.
Now, didn't you say, though, that your cats used to act kind of strangely and you thought maybe you had I thought you had told me at one point that you thought you had a cat ghost or something that would muck with your cats. Could it be that that's what was in there? Is this cat ghost that was already part of the home?
No, I felt there was probably like a female spirit that the cat had hissed at last year that it responded to. I mean, I did hear the cat's voice after it passed away, but once again,
Now, did you hear your cat or did you hear this cat?
Oh, it was my cat.
Okay.
Now, is there a way to tell, Mary Ann, like this cat, can you tell how long it's been at a site? Could it have been there just recently? Could it have actually...
Yeah, I have no way of knowing.
There's no way. It's not like a stronger essence if they've been there a longer time or fainter if they've been...
No.
Okay.
No. And
the interesting thing is a couple of days ago, there was a white cat with a black tail that ran across the street. A kitten, actually. It's probably about 2 months old that I kind of chased and tried to catch because I think it was a stray. But
no, this is a full-grown adult cat.
Okay, yeah.
No, this is full-grown.
All right.
It's quite comfortable. I mean, it's not like it's anxious being there. So my guess is that it's been there for quite a while.
All right. Well, thank you very much for calling in, Chris, and being a part of it with us today. And everybody stay tuned. We're going to be back with more calls with Mary Ann Winkowski. You're listening to Darkness Radio. Good evening. Welcome back to Darkness Radio. I'm Dave Schrader, your host. Along with me, Mr. Tim Dennis, my co-host. And we're talking to the lovely and very, very impressive ghost whisperer, Mary Ann Winkowski. She has a new book out called When Ghosts Speak. She is one of the creative consultants for the hit TV series on CBS called Ghost Whisperer, starring Jennifer Love Hewitt, and also one of the inspirations for the actual character on the show. Mary Ann, this is, now, what season are we in? Are we in fourth season now?
This will be our fourth. As a matter of fact, next week the third season DVDs come out.
Oh, great. Very cool.
Yeah.
So the third seasons, are you in any of the special features on any of the DVDs?
I don't think I am in the third season. I was on the first and the second.
When are they going to bring you onto an episode to do a cameo? Come on.
I don't think that's something I really want to do.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
Come on. Well, we got another call on the line here with us from Minnesota, and actually this is another one of the gals that works with the show. She's new to the show, so we wanted to kind of break her in and give her a chance to see. And she's been telling me that she thought she had something she was dealing with at her home. So let's welcome to the show Nicole Remini. Nicole, how are you?
Hi, guys.
Hey, thanks a lot for coming on and being with us. Now,
Thanks for having me.
We've got on the line, as I said, Mary Ann Winkowski, the Ghost Whisperer.
Hello.
And can you hear her better now, Mary Ann? Have we got a better connection?
I can. I hear great now. Thanks.
Great. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and start off a little bit. Just tell us, without getting too much into detail, what kind of stuff have you had happen around there that makes you think you have a haunted house you're dealing with, Nicole?
Well, it seems like I get woken up in the middle of the night with either my name being called or I hear Mommy. And I get up and I go and check on the kids, and they're sound asleep, not a peep out of them. Nobody's moving. And I'll wake up to feeling somebody standing next to my bed, where I actually pop out of bed very quickly because I feel somebody's probably standing there. And nobody's there. And this has gone on. We've lived here now for 2 years. And, I mean, it's just gotten to a point where I just kind of get used to getting woken up in the middle of the night with my name being called or Mommy being called.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now this is pretty good. You've got two spirits in your house. The one is a younger adult man.
Okay.
And I don't think he's been in your house very long. My guess he's been in your house less than 6 months.
Okay.
And he's okay with your kids, but he is not always okay with your guests.
Okay.
Okay, he's not happy with a lot of your friends. So this tells me that he must be somebody that's really, really likes you, and he doesn't want anybody around you.
Okay.
Okay. The other one is a child.
Okay. Is it a girl?
It is a girl.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Now, I don't understand what the heck this means. Okay. You have an attached garage, correct?
Yes.
Okay, when you first came on the line, she was standing there, but then she ran out like a living room, and she's standing by a column.
There are 2 columns in front of my house.
That's where she's standing right now. She went out the front door.
Okay.
When she heard you talking about her, she went out the front door.
Okay.
So she hears everything you say. She can get to one of your kids. She can scare one of your kids. The other one she cannot.
Okay, that would probably be my son, who she scares, but my daughter not so much.
But she messes with your daughter's stuff. I'll tell you that. She's about 10 or 11 years old,
Okay.
and she I don't know if your daughter's missing earrings or jewelry or bracelets, but she's always touching her stuff.
Yeah, we miss things a lot. I actually miss jewelry goes missing here all the time.
Yeah, she would mess with your stuff too, and she would mess with
Maybe that's just the friends that are over at your house the other ghost doesn't like. They're ripping off your jewelry, Nicole.
Yeah, the other thing that she would do too is that she likes to look anything like perfume bottles or lotions. She would mess with that. I don't know if you've ever blamed your kids for messing with that stuff.
I do, actually. I blame them a lot for things being
it's
out
not
of place.
them, it's her.
Okay.
She does it. And she, I believe, moved with you.
Oh, really?
I think she came with you from your other house.
Okay, well, that's very possible.
Okay. Now, the man, no. Like I said, the man is new.
Okay.
And he would... you remember how we talked before, Dave, about breaking up relationships?
Right.
No relationship is going to start in this house with this man in the house.
Okay, that's very interesting, too, because it seems like I go in and out of things very quickly with my moods.
Okay, that he would be affecting that.
Okay.
Right, and we were just talking with the last guest, or one of the last guests. They were saying that they get woken up a lot. Mary Ann was saying that they do that to kind of irritate, agitate you, and then they kind of feed off that energy that you put out by kind of irritating you and getting you going like that.
Well, and when she hears, Mommy, Mommy, and she's got kids in the house, she's going to jump up and go check the kids and make sure they're okay.
Right.
And then you're frustrated and you're angry, then you can't fall back to sleep, and
right.
It's a rat race. Or they'll go wake the kids up, and the kids come in bed every night.
Yep, man, that's what goes on, too. Like, even last night, my son said, Mom, I heard talking. He said, I don't feel well, my stomach's bothering me, my head hurts, and I hear talking.
There you go.
Yeah, so he was in bed with me last night, too.
Well, what was interesting, too, at the state fair, Nicole, when I was talking briefly with your daughter, she said that she has sensed a little girl coming into her room.
Right.
So that is, interesting.
Oh, okay.
Now, has your son talked about seeing a little girl or seeing people in the house, or just the voices and creating stomach problems and stuff?
He says he sees things, but he hasn't. Last night was the first time he said he heard talking.
Yeah, he would be afraid to talk about it.
Yeah, he is a little bit of a scaredy cat. So
yeah, he wouldn't want to talk about it.
Right.
Well, understandably, yeah, that's that can be disturbing for even an adult to deal with.
Now, is there something I should do about them, or?
My standard is see if you can have the house blessed by an ordained priest or minister. Just don't throw holy water around yourself because that'll make them angry. Okay. The second thing is smudge, sweetgrass, sage.
No, we did that when we probably the first month I was here because I was getting woken up so much.
But see, people say sage one time and thinks that's all you have to do. You have to do it every 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Now there is an upside to this, believe it or not.
Tell me.
Okay, when people die and they don't cross over, they stay the same age. Your children are getting older every day.
Right.
This girl is somewhere between 10 and 11. Eventually, your kids are going to be older than her, and they're not going to be fun anymore to hang around, so she'll leave on her own.
Oh, okay.
That's why kids' imaginary playmates don't usually stay that long.
Oh,
because the live child is growing and getting older, and the ghost is not.
Okay.
They're going to go next door. Actually, which one of your neighbors has a... 'cause that's where she's hiding now. She's hiding in a shed. Do you have a shed?
Yeah, the neighbor right next door. The one closer to the street has a shed.
That's where she's at right now, on a corner.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That's where she's at right now.
Okay.
Well, what about the guy now? Where does he hang out? Does he, is he anybody she has to worry about?
Yeah, he's going to hang out wherever Nicole is.
Wow. Well, you can't blame her. Yeah, exactly.
Like the shower?
He's a bit of a stalker, I would say.
Oh, great.
Beautiful.
Yeah. When you go into the bathroom to take a shower, over the threshold of your door, put a little bit of sea salt.
Okay.
And at least that'll give your bathroom some privacy.
That would be very nice because that would make me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
At this point. But he's harmless, though?
Well, he's an energy drain. He's causing trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, headaches and...
Does your boyfriend ever feel uncomfortable when he's at the house, Nicole? Does he ever feel edgy or uncomfortable? Do you notice him to be a little bit more snarky when he's over than when you're out somewhere else?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. He seems like, gets irritated probably a little faster with me than he does when we're not here.
Mm-hmm.
So that would probably be this guy messing with him.
That would probably be him.
Wow.
Okay. And then, somebody yesterday, I was talking to one of the neighbors, and she said, it's kind of funny that you say, that you might think that there might be something in the house. She's like, nobody has ever lasted in that house. Like, it seems like people come and go from this, like they don't last for more than a year or two in this house. And I'm actually considering moving myself right now.
Wow.
So...
What is that house, 12, 15 years old at the most?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, interesting stuff. Thanks a lot for calling in and being a part of the show with us, Nicole. And
thanks, guys. And thanks, Mary Ann. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
She ran home after the first hour of the show so she could be a part of tonight's show with you because I told her you have to be at your house. You have to be dealing with this. So we appreciate you doing all the running around too, Nicole.
Oh, no problem. I'm very, I feel good about it, though, actually, because now everything's confirmed.
Good deal.
Well, at least you know, and that's half of it.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we're going to wrap it up here, Mary Ann. We appreciate you spending some time with us. Remember, October 3rd is the return of Ghost Whisperer. We want you to check that out. And Mary Ann's book is out there, When Ghosts Speak. Mary Ann Winkowski is the author and the guest for this evening. Thanks a lot for spending time with us here again, Mary Ann.
Enjoyed it. Have me back.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
And thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back with more in our second guest, so we want you to stay with us as we talk about David Farkas, who is actually a spiritual healer and can do remote energy healing with work in buildings, helping you get rid of the ghosts. You're listening to Darkness Radio.